camera or shotgun? The choice is yours. Join Sunny as she takes you hunting for wild boars. Scores of wild boars frenetically run through the dense forest. A true hunter's dream. And now we will show it to you. We will experience unforgettable hunting adventures. Crossing 4 continents in search of the world's finest hunting grounds, we will travel to Africa and Australia, where wild pigs roam free. We will stalk for trophy boars in Europe, and will take part in hunting batus in Asia. Share the thrill of the furious wild boar's encounter with the fearless dogs. Feel the excitement. Feel the danger. Share the adventure. Join the gathering of boars and hunters.
So far, we saw the good work of drivers and dogs that was successful thanks to the precise shots of the hunters. In the following minutes, we will leave the smoke of the carbines to drift away as we go to the African continent to see how world records in archery are achieved and watch as several warthogs are stalked. We look forward to the interesting meeting in the training base for the tricolor beagle. Then, once again, we will track the trails of the dangerous wild boars in a dizzy competition between them and the fearless 4-legged hunters. Make yourself comfortable because the most interesting in boars and hunters is up next.
In this segment of Boars and Hunters, we will undertake a hunting adventure outside the limits of the known hunting world. We will get to know the newly discovered hunting territories of Uganda, a country that was perceived until recently by everyone as the most unstable and dangerous tourist destination globally. Together, we will witness the huge progress that the hard-working and kind, and most of all hospitable people of Uganda achieved thanks to their natural resources. The country is located in the East African Plateau, and it is surrounded by Kenya, Sudan, Congo, and Rwanda, and it is crossed by the equator. Here we will be hunting together with a famous American hunter, Gary Bogner. His main goal is to find and take down with his bow the sitatunga, impala, hippopotamus, and giant forest hog. In his capacity of former president of the biggest hunting organization globally, he has the opportunity to spread the information about this hunting heaven. Our hunting guide explained us that the numbers of the giant forest hog, as well as of the hippopotamuses inhabiting the lake, are increasing. As we move along the bank, the group suddenly comes across a young sitatunga. Gary and Kaka got separated from the group in order to try avoiding the exotic antelope that lives in the marshes. They were interested in the reaction of the animal and whether it would be possible to approach it at less than 40 meters. In the next morning, even before the sun gave a hint of appearing at the horizon, all of us were around the marshes. Our plan was to walk around the entire nearby swamp in order to search for the sitatunga in the swaying reeds. Now it was the end of another dry season, and the water in the marshes had evaporated and was replaced by hard, black, and caked mud. The water had withdrew to the inside further than the local people ever saw it. We did not miss the high rubber boots every sitatunga hunter wears as a rule. The terrain proved to be very suitable since it was surrounded by the meandering path, conveniently hidden in the shrubs behind giant sand piles or trees. It was not long before we saw the local attraction, the hippopotamuses. Here they are not hunted because of our guide's wish to leave them to procreate in peace. Even in the camp, we could hear the typical sounds made by them and the threatening munching and snorting of the huge animals. The morning hunting did not bring the trophy Gary desired, but helped us get acquainted with our heavy neighbors. The afternoon outing was about to meet us with almost all the inhabitants of the region surrounding the marshes. The first animal proved to be warthog. The pigs were soaking somewhere in the slime. Gary was very lucky since as soon as during the first hour of the afternoon walking around the marsh, Alex, our hunting guide, noticed a nice sitatunga in the reeds facing us. The hunter didn't lose any time and drew the strings of his heavy 75-pound bow Hoyt. The shot found the sitatunga unprepared and the arrow strung it fatally. Now came the most difficult part. We had to take its body out of the marsh, and the two trackers took their clothes off and got into dangerous territory inhabited by the large hippopotamuses. Soon both of them gave us the sign that they had the baby hippopotamus nearby its mother. Their task turned into a massively difficult one, but the experienced trackers didn't hesitate and undertook the dangerous mission. Soon all of us had a sigh of relief after seeing them dragging the sitatunga behind. In order to figure out the uniqueness of the feat to shoot this animal with a bow, we just need to tell you that the hunters who proved successful in this could be counted on the fingers of one of your hands. Not only did he manage to get the sitatunga trophy, but after measuring it, we found out that this is the largest one among the trophies registered in the record book of SCI as of today. The uniqueness of this trophy animal stemmed from its way of life and the physical modifications it had on its hooves, allowing it to literally gallop along the tender surface vegetation in the marshes and swamps. In addition to the terrain of the place where the animal uses to hide and survive, the habits acquired as a result of living in the swamp, namely to fully submerge below the water level in the case of danger, makes this antelope species the rarest and hardest to get trophy for the archers. After the unique hunting achievement, we were about to experience meeting the warthogs that is a much for each African safari. While searching for a warthog with a trophy that is good enough, the hunter and the hunting guide saw a large impala. This gift of destiny was not to be missed, and Gary stretched his bow once again. Remember this moment, and recall it the next time you see an archer facing an impala. There is no arrow in the world that is fast enough to outscore the lightning-fast reaction of an impala following your move while drawing the bow. There are numerous cases proving that the impala's movement is 2 times faster than the speed with which the arrow is flying, and the only chance the hunter stands of striking the impala with a bow is in the case of an animal that does not keep direct visual contact with the archer. Soon, the group reached a herd of buffaloes that were fast to withdraw in the nearby bush. The unfavorable wind has betrayed us, and we didn't stand a chance of approaching the warned animals at a distance of 1 bow firing. For example, at not more than 30 meters for this large animal.
This distance where they are talking, for the gun it was okay, but for the bow, no.
Behind the buffalo herd, our hunting guide spotted several warthogs, and the hunters were about to try stalking them at a close distance. They had to sneak under the thick, interweaving, stingy acacia branches. While Gary was checking the distance for shooting at the warthog, the hunting guide noticed a very large impala, but she also noticed them and revealed our presence to all animals surrounding it. The warthog was the only one not to find out what is going on, but the young animal was not a trophy in which the hunter was interested. While they were examining the banks of the lake stretching in front of them, the group witnessed one of the usual everyday situations where the wild inhabitants of the African bush turned either the tasty bite or another missed breakfast for the scariest reptile in the water. The Nile crocodile could take underwater even half a ton buffalo, and this fragile bird was just its appetizer. Lady Luck was on the bird side this time, and the crocodile had to satisfy its hunger with a fish in the pond. We continued our way in the search for warthogs and antelopes. The numerous herds of impalas were everywhere, but they were fast to take our disguise away and didn't leave us a chance to approach them. Everywhere they looked, among each herd they surveyed with their binoculars, Kaka and Gary found some monstrously huge trophy. It was an incredible experience to be in the middle of the hunting heaven with a bow in hand, and Gary knew very well that he was very lucky relying on his hunting organizer from safari season to come here. The legendary hunter was exemplary for many young archers and was about to engrave his name with golden letters in the SCI record book. I will tell you a small secret of the scriptwriters of our production. In some of the next episodes, you will see the one-of-its-kind 36-inch trophy of the water buck record for all types of firearms and weapons used as of today. And now let us focus on the present stalking. It seems that Gary has found a worthy trophy of warthog and was about to try taking it down from quite the distance. Because of the visual contact with the animal and the long flight of the arrow, the hog had tried to escape the approaching sharp broadhead, but it didn't succeed in that. The arrow struck it end to end, and the dark bloody clots along the entire length of the arrow meant just one thing. Soon, Gary was about to have a warthog trophy in his collection. No animal that moves while stepping onto the earth could mislead the sharp vision of the 2-meter-high African. Furthermore, if it leaves a bloody trail. Alex soon found the unnoticeable body of the warthog and drew it out of the thick bushes, where the death from Gary's precise shot reached it.
It's the oldest hog I've seen for some time. Oh, it's here. Because I saw him add more speed. When he adds more speed, then I'm very suspicious. Then I saw these, from there, the leaves.
Wow!
See? Perfect shot. Perfect.
61 meters.
But you did it well. Well done, Gary.
Thank you.
See?
Wow.
7 years. Really? Oh, yeah. Do you see any meat on him? Look at this. Look at this.
No meat. It was
61 meters. Got lucky. Just one of those lucky shots.
no. This shot is a result of many shots on the target. That was the final stalking for this safari, right?
Our last stalk on the impalas. They'll be here for another year.
Yeah.
And I wish the next bow hunter much better luck than me.
Yeah.
In this segment of Boars and Hunters, we will show you hunter's best friend. In Bulgaria, there is a breed of dogs that has always accompanied the hunting activity of the human. Even before the 21st century here, the Illyrians and later on the Celts and even the ancient Greeks left us written evidence about the indisputable merits of their four-legged hunting partners that are nowadays called by us Bulgarian tricolor beagle. Hounds are a large group of hunting dogs used for hunting all types of hairy game along the trail it leaves. They work while finding the trail of the game and hunt it down until finding it. After finding the game, the various types of beagles behave in a different way that is predefined by the inbuilt characteristics of the beagle, as well as by the wish of the hunter that trains them. Some beagles bark at the game from a distance, others attack it straightforwardly in order to keep it at one place or scare it away from its den. Here in this camp, for the purposes of training tricolored beagles to perform driven hunts, the cohabitation of the small puppies with a hind youngster makes the puppies get accustomed to the deer presence, and after they grow up and start following the trails, they never run after roe deer and red deer. We are about to give out a secret about the special training of the frenetic four-legged hunters. In addition to their early cohabitation with the doe, they have another roommate to meet at their maiden battle, and the real job of following and stopping wild boars is the way it is done in a real environment. We would like to present you the wild, domesticated boar gauche. It was found by the people when it was a squeaker, and it was sheltered by them, turning into an irreplaceable trainer of the national team of fighting technique for the dog and wild boar encounters. Gauche grew up and matured throughout the years, but it is as friendly towards its master as always and even eats from his hand. It has a company, a recently found and cured sow. Gauche is not among the commonest domesticated animals. He managed taking down some of the wooden paneling of the ceiling, thus creating the chaos inside the house all boars adore. The glutton young sow even tried whether the fingers of our video operator are edible. Food is the main connection that befriends wild animals with their master. Eating from his hand and the direct contact with him creates the habits and the necessary loyalty so that the dog trainings do not get out of control. Thanks to their inbuilt wild instincts, the boars help in training the tricolor beagles. They leave a real trail along which the dogs could be trained in following it. It is easy when you know the timing of the trail to explain your dog whether it is worth following it or it should better find a new one. In the case of direct contact, when the wild boar meets the dog in real conditions, the dog stands the risk of 50-50 to be disemboweled at its first driven hunt. In this case, the chance of being fatally hurt is minimum because the hunting down and the tete-a-tete meeting with the enemy is performed in a controlled environment under the strict monitoring of the trainer that is ready to intervene anytime. As far as Gauche is concerned, everything seems to be a great game for him that he accepts with pleasure. This is the boar survivor after the greatest number of encounters with hunting dogs, and one day this will be entered in the Guinness Record Book. And now let us continue our driven hunt from where we interrupted it. The driven hunt in the morning that we saw in the beginning of the episode was dynamic and full of action, but there is still enough time for another drive before noon, and the hunters are fast to get seated at their places. This would be one of the last driven hunts for this season, and Svetomir, the director of the hunting preserve, decides to take part in the hunt. One more good shooter is never in excess when it comes to driven hunt in an open area, where the wild boars are uncatchable and the efforts of the drivers and their dogs could be in vain if there are not enough hunters to close the escape ways of the boar. His position is strategic. He will have to keep the wild boars in the lowland so that they do not run away from the driven hunt. Meanwhile, the other hunters make a long detour in order to pass by the hill from the other side and to close the ring. The lowland between the two hills is overgrown with blackberry shrubs that are the favorite shelter of wild boars. Hunters are moving in a string one by one along the beaten path, and yet at some places the shrubs catch someone's trousers or the ties of the hunting shoes with their sharp thorns that resemble anglers' hooks. We pass by the thick blackberry bushes without even feeling a whole sounder of wild boars hidden there. They do not make a move or a sound. Only their sharp smell gives them away, but we think this is due to the residual effect of their dens amid the blackberries. The operator checks one of the tunnels dug in the rosehip bushes without realizing how near he is. He is really lucky that the boars located at just 50 centimeters behind his back do not decide to run away through him. Finally, the hunters are located at their posts, and the driven hunt could begin. Time passes by very slowly for the hunters, since dogs barking do not approach them fast enough. It seems the thick bushes are a hindrance not only for the people, but also for the dogs, and the driven hunt approaches very slowly. The first firing is produced and everyone is alert. A sow tried her luck twice and tested the sharp eye of Setso that saw her go away through the optics of his gun. This time it is not the sow, but a huge tusker. The tusker takes up the firing without feeling them. Soon the experienced hunter that is confident in his precise shooting finds out the dead animal. The boar did not make even 100 meters down the slope of the hill. Setso explained the driver what is the exact situation and the wild boar's movement through his ambush. The information is important in view of the tactical location of the future-driven hunts in the same locality.
In today's episode, we witnessed several extraordinary shots that are worth being included in our rubric, The Perfect Shot. Let's have a look at these moments once again. Indeed, there are interesting situations and precise shots, such as this extraordinary achievement from 180 meters, where the wild boar is between the trees fleeing at full throttle, or this back sight to kill. Each of these hits is the prospective best shot that is included in our ranking. You decide which is the best. In the next episode of Boars and Hunters, you'll see the driven hunt in the Bulgarian mountains, the dangerous collision of dogs with a furious wild boar, and very accurate shots by experienced Russian hunters, where each one is a hit. Do not miss this episode. It is full of the dynamics of the close encounters between hunters, drivers, and game. We will take some time to visit Australia. Together with the renowned bow hunter Archie Nesbitt, we will hunt buffalo and wild boar in the far territories inhabited by the Aborigines. Do not miss this hunting action, full of gunpowder fumes, flying arrows, and bullets.